Hey y'all, thanks for stopping by. So last week I made a video about Warhammer 40k going woke because your squad in the Space Marine game is a mixed race group, and one of the heads of command for the Cadian army is a woman. And then of course that Tithe show had the female custodian in it, and this just spawned a week of the stupidest arguments you've heard on the internet. But I kept seeing this repeated phrase over and over that Warhammer is an inherently masculine hobby, but it's a man's club, so that's why it's bad when women try to invade it or change things to suit themselves. And I haven't seen any women trying to change 40k in the slightest, or at least the narrative purposes or anything like that, but I do find it strange to call this a masculine hobby. And let's just look at this objectively. What are we doing when we play 40k, right? Personally, I'm an orc player, right? Or at least an orc painter. I haven't played any full games yet because I don't have that many minis. Also, I don't paint that frequently, but I'm working on completing what I have, and eventually I would like to play a game with people. But for now, my involvement with Warhammer 40k is putting together plastic minis and painting them. You know, making sure my edge highlight looks really nice, making sure my brushes are just so the right types of paint so I can put rust features or maybe blood splatter on a model. I don't consider that inherently I don't consider it inherently feminine either. You know, painting's painting. You get a lot of fun out of it if you really try it. Let's see the other sides of this. Lore. If you like lore, that's cool. There's lots of books in 40k that you can read through, but is reading inherently masculine? Is diving into a sci-fi world or a fantasy world inherently masculine? Because the godfather of sci-fi as a genre is a woman. You know, Mary Shelley, the creator of Frankenstein, you could argue that's the first sci-fi book. So a woman owns your genre. I don't think that makes the genre inherently feminine, but I don't think it makes it inherently masculine either. The last part of this, of course, playing the games. Whether it's a dice rolling tabletop, that kind of wargaming that you're doing, or maybe you're playing video games. But either way, you are simulating combat, you're playing a game with someone else. I don't think playing games is inherently masculine. Even if it's a war game, even if it's a bloody game, even if it's a gore game, it's still a game that you're playing. You are simulating something with someone else. Now, again, just because this isn't inherently masculine, that doesn't mean it's inherently feminine. It's just fun. Playing games and simulating certain activities with other people is fun. You don't need to be a man or a woman to have fun. You can just have fun. Now, of course, there's the setting of 40k. Now, this is where I think most people, like, they're bad at articulating what they actually believe, because I'm sure they believe that the setting of 40k is inherently masculine, right? After all, it's tens of thousands of years in our future. The galaxy is on the precipice of destruction. Mankind is really thinned out. It's tough living in the 41st millennium. Every book makes a point to clarify that in the beginning, that the Imperium of Man is an incredibly oppressive regime. It's really brutal to live under. Even if you're someone who's in a position of power, it's still a very tough place to live. It's a brutal lifestyle. Being affected by war, being a soldier, being any part of that sort of apparatus for warfare, even if it's small scale or galactic scale, is not inherently masculine. Consider the World War II war effort. You had women in factories putting together planes, ammo, stuff like that. I wouldn't say just women. Really, anybody who was at home who didn't get drafted was a part of the war effort. You had women who were on the front lines helping, medics and stuff like that. The society that we live in is, I think this goes without saying, but is a bit oppressive towards women. We didn't allow women to do certain things for the longest time in our society. This is changing now. We are allowing women to have frontline combat roles if they so choose. We're not forcing them into it, though, like the Imperium of Man would. So there is a little bit of a difference there. If you want to say it's inherently masculine to force people into jobs that they wouldn't want to do, I mean, I guess you can claim that. I don't want to be associated with that, but it seems like that's what a lot of these guys really lean into. They look at all the horrible aspects of the Imperium of Man. They look at all the terrible atrocities that they've committed. And sure, you can say that, it's a terrible galaxy and they're doing what's necessary, but I don't want to be associated with that. I don't want that to be what people think of when they think of men, of wanting destruction and doing whatever you must to survive, even if it's betraying your countrymen and stabbing people in the back. I don't think that's masculine. I think that's rat-like behavior to do anything you can to survive in whatever circumstances are laid in front of you. But, all that aside, the hobby space of 40K is not masculine in any stretch. You're painting minis, you're reading books, you're playing video games with other people. So we don't need to make this a boys club or a girls club. And if you want to make your own social gathering spots for only men, no one's stopping you from doing that. Or at least I'm not stopping you from doing that. And I'm sure the people who would join you to play a man's only table, I feel like they're the kind of people I wouldn't want to associate with in the first place. So you're kind of doing me a favor by setting up these clubs. I don't think this is ever going to go away, though. There are some people who look at 40K as this like last vestige of their masculinity, and I don't really understand it, as I'm sure you've gathered over the course of this video. But until the next time you see them on your feed screaming and hollering that someone who doesn't look like them is trying to paint minis next to them, y'all try to have a good day.